Hey, third shifters, join me as we head back to 1944 Tulsa, Oklahoma, and uncover the chilling true story of the Hex House. Let's dive in.
Welcome to Third Shift Archives, where nightmares don't clock out. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
This week we're looking back at 1944 Tulsa, Oklahoma, a city shaken by one of the most chilling cases in its history. On a quiet street, neighbors whispered about a house where lights flickered at odd hours. Whispers slipped through closed windows, and shadows moved when no one was there. They called it the Hex House. But when police finally entered, they didn't find witches or spirits. What they uncovered was far worse. A woman who convinced her followers they were cursed, stripped them of everything they owned, and kept them as her prisoners. Carol Ann Smith was a widow in her 50s. To her neighbors, she was polite, devout, and unremarkable. The kind of woman you'd greet at church but never really know. Behind closed doors, Carol lived differently. Her home was filled with expensive furniture, silk curtains, and fine china. Luxuries that didn't add up for a woman with no job and no inheritance. Her secret? She targeted the vulnerable. Women who were isolated, desperate for guidance, and willing to believe in her claims of spiritual power. Carol built a reputation, quietly, as a spiritual advisor. Some came to her for help, others for comfort. But many left poorer than they arrived, convinced they needed to atone by giving Carol money, service, and loyalty. Virginia Evans and Willetta Horner would become her most extreme victims. Virginia, 31, and Willetta, 30, came from hard lives. They were working women, trying to survive the instability of wartime America. Both were far from close family, both searching for a place to belong. Carol gave them that. At first, she offered shelter, spiritual counseling, and promises that she could lift the curse she claimed hung over their lives. But soon, Carol's rules turned into commands. She told them their souls would be damned if they disobeyed. She demanded every paycheck, every bit of savings, even their jewelry and clothes. The women were reduced to eating scraps. They were forced to sleep on a bare concrete basement floor with only a thin blanket, even through the freezing Oklahoma winter. Neighbors began noticing strange things. Soft chanting echoing from the house after midnight, flickering candlelight in the windows, figures kneeling in the dark. Some whispered about black magic, others thought it was some kind of cult. But for Virginia and Willetta, there was no questioning. They believed Carol had power to destroy them if they resisted. And so, they obeyed, as their bodies and minds withered away. By October 1944, Virginia was on the brink of death. She weighed under 90 pounds. Her hair was falling out. She could barely speak. A concerned friend, alarmed by her disappearance, tipped off Tulsa police. When officers arrived, Carol greeted them with a smile, calm, collected, insisting nothing was wrong. Inside, they found a nightmare. Two women, barefoot, frail, wrapped in thin blankets, sitting on a cold basement floor. Their eyes weren't filled with relief, but fear. Fear of Carol, even as she was handcuffed in front of them. One officer recalled, "It was as though they thought she could hear their thoughts, even after we took her away." Carol Ann Smith was arrested and charged with fraud, exploitation, and cruelty. The charges didn't mention witchcraft, but the newspapers did. The Tulsa World splashed the headline, "Hex House Mistress Arrested." Reporters painted Carol as a black magic practitioner, a hypnotist, a woman who could bend wills. Neighbors fed the hysteria, describing chanting, flickering lights, and shadows moving through the windows at night. At trial, Virginia and Willetta struggled to speak. Their voices were so faint, their terror so deep, that even with Carol shackled and silent, they seemed convinced she still had power over them. Carol served only a brief prison sentence. After her release, she vanished from public life. But the Hex House, its legend was just beginning. The Hex House was eventually demolished. The lot was cleared, paved, and repurposed. But locals say the land is still wrong. Some report cold spots while walking past. Others say the streetlights flicker as they cross the block. A few have sworn they've heard whispers rising from where the basement once was. The most chilling accounts describe a woman in shadow, standing at the edge of the lot, where the front steps used to be. Every Halloween, Tulsa's haunted attraction, the Hex House, revives the story, letting thrill seekers experience its horrors. But the truth is scarier than any ghost, because the real monster of the Hex House wasn't a spirit. It was Carol Ann Smith, a woman who proved the most powerful prison isn't built of chains. It's built inside your mind. Carol Ann Smith is long gone, but if you walk past East 21st Street on a cold, quiet night, some say she's still listening.
What do you think? Was Carol Ann Smith just a con artist? Or something far more sinister? For more true crime and real-life horror, subscribe.